Hello and welcome to Hollywood Approved with Kristen and Yael. I am Yael Tygiel. Kristen could not be here today. Each episode is an exploration of taste as we dive into the good, the bad, and the unexpected in TV and movies. Tune in for the celebrity guests. Stay for the surprising recommendations. This is Hollywood Approved. Yay! I'm so excited for our guest today. We have somebody who you may know from Ozark, who you might be watching on Spectrum's Long Slow Exhale. Let me introduce my new friend, Melissa. Hello!
Hello. That was a beautiful introduction, by the way, like the whole thing.
Oh, thank you. I didn't make the graphics, so I can't take credit for that, but I did the rest.
It's a, I thought the whole thing was great. Take credit for the
Wonderful.
graphics. Just pretend.
No, somebody really talented made that, and they deserve the credit.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Welcome, Melissa. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling.
Awesome.
Clearly I'm a very awkward human being. So.
What we were talking for like 10 minutes. You're so nice. Not awkward at all. I want to know, let's talk about you and your career, soon to be a career in writing, and we'll get to that. But
yeah.
But first, let's talk about your acting career. I want to talk about Ozark, which just wrapped up a couple months ago. The final season
The final
aired.
season. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm just grateful, to have ever gotten to be on that show. I mean, that was like the most insane thing ever. When I worked on Ozark, I think I had booked like maybe one other show. I had done like a few like small independent things, but that was my first like the first real thing that I booked. And I just couldn't even believe it that I would be getting to work with like Jason Bateman and Laura Linney, like people who were my absolute idols. And I wasn't in the final season, but my character had quite a presence in the final season, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to see. It was fun for me because I wasn't a part of the final season. I didn't get the scripts, so for this last part, I kind of got to be a viewer like everybody else, which ended up being really, really special because I had been a fan of the show on season one. I had watched it, and it in the seasons that you're in, it's not quite as fun to watch when you're in it, as when you're a fan. So then to get for the final season to come back and just get to like be a fan of the show and like everybody else being like, what's going to happen? How is this going to end? Was actually a really cool experience.
That sounds like the perfect way to be in a show. Like if you're not leading the show, the perfect way is to be a fan, get in it, and then get to enjoy the end.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Let's talk about some of the people you got to work with, because not only did you work with Jason Bateman, Laura Linney, but you also got to be on Star with Queen Latifah. Like you've worked with some amazing people.
Yeah, I really have. It was getting to work on Star was crazy because I remember I walked into, I mean, all of this, like I'm coming in like just like a new person, a no-name actor. Like these casts have been together for a really long time. And I remember walking into the makeup trailer and Brandy was in the makeup seat next to me. And she was my favorite Cinderella and the best Cinderella. I think we
Right.
can all agree.
Yes.
And so I just instantly was just like, and I just like sat in the makeup chair and I was like, just being to myself. I was like, don't say anything, don't embarrass yourself, give her her space. And then she literally she's talking to the makeup artist and she just starts singing in the trailer. And I was sitting there just like, what is happening right now? It was the most insane thing. Her voice in person is unreal. And I literally was just squeezing the makeup chair trying to not look like as excited as I was.
Have you told her that she's
No.
okay? All right.
No, I didn't tell her. I've like told people before that I've been fans of their work, and people like some people like it and some people don't, it seems.
Mm.
So I never say anything other than like, oh, it's really nice to meet you. Yeah. I think
Okay.
she would have appreciated it, but I was way too scared.
I mean, I think the fact that she just started singing tells you she would have appreciated
Well,
it.
that's true. That's true.
What did
Yeah.
she sing?
I can't even remember what she sang, to be honest. I don't know. It was like a good 4 or 5 years ago now at this point.
Hmm.
And then Queen Latifah was obviously amazing, amazing to work with. She was really kind. There's a thing, I come from a stage background. I did theater growing up, theater in high school. I was like just the weird theater nerd kid. And I have a degree in theater. And so there are some things that are very different when you go to TV and film. So for instance, if you have a line in TV and film and you flub it, everybody in the scene just pauses a second and then you just say the line again. Well, this was like the third TV show I'd worked on. And I'd seen people do it, but I'd never put it into practice. And I had
Right.
a line that I flubbed, and I was just like looking at Queen Latifah, and I flubbed it, and my eyes kind of went wide, and she just looked at me and she goes, "Do you want to try that again?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you." And so she was very kind in helping me out there because I went into total panic mode.
Right, of course, that's, I always say that I'm used to doing everything live. I live stream everything. And when I do a show that's taped, I go, if you're going to want me to say it again, you're going to have to stop and tell me because I'm just going to keep going like I didn't mess it up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what I'm used to too, for
Right,
sure. And I do because it was like I flubbed the middle of the line, and so I just carried it through to the end. And then
right.
she just didn't go forward because she as a pro was like, yeah, they're not going to use that. Just say that again.
Well, now we know the secrets of TV.
I know. The things you learn while on set.
Well, let's talk about that. Tell me about something else you may have learned from, because you said you were a little newer when you were on these shows. You're working with
Yeah,
icons, um,
icons.
Laura
Yeah.
Linney, Jason Bateman. Anything you learned from them?
Ooh. I didn't get to work as much with Laura Linney. I didn't get to work as much with Laura Linney. I did meet her one time. Or I met her twice briefly, and she was very kind. Um, she did tell me because I think she could also tell I was nervous. I swear to God, I'm a professional. She at one point looked at me and goes like, "Don't worry, honey. Like everybody gets nervous. I get nervous when I do my scenes still to this day." And she was like, "Just take those nerves and use them because they can help you create a really powerful performance." I thought that was so sweet that she said that. And then Jason Bateman, I had as a director, but the scenes that I worked with were really, really tiny. And I honestly kind of like blacked out that day because I was just so excited to be working with him. But I do remember that I made a joke and he laughed. And I was like, okay, I can go die now because I made Jason Bateman laugh at least like once in my life.
How was he as a director?
He's really great. He's also, the executive, like one of the executive producers on the show. And that was the best set that I've ever worked on in terms of how people treated one another. He set a very, very high standard of conduct for set. And I think it really came down from him of treating everybody equally and everybody kindly. I mean, you could just tell anytime he walked on set, actors, crew members, whoever would be like, everybody called him JB. I didn't call him JB, I called him Jason. We met for like 2 seconds. I didn't feel like I earned the right. So I still refer to him as Jason, but he'd walk on set and everybody would be like, "Oh, JB," But what I really liked about his direction, and this, I got this with Anton Cropper with Long Slow Exhale too, is that he came in very opinionated, knowing exactly what he wanted. And for me as an actor, when a director can come in and tell you exactly what you want, it's like the biggest, I hate when actors use this word, but gift whatsoever. Sometimes, directors will come in and they'll be like, "Oh, it's like as if like you're floating in the sky and then a lightning bolt hits you," and all like very beautiful but kind of vague.
Right.
But when someone comes in and is like, "Do this, do this, do this, this is how I want it to look, this is how I want it to feel," that is really helpful for me. And Jason Bateman was really, really good about being direct in what he wanted,
Wow.
while also being kind. He's
Yes,
obviously, like I said, everybody loved him.
good to know all that about JB. Um,
Yeah.
I'm excited now to meet him and call him JB to his face. He's like, do I know you?
Yeah.
Ugh,
He also invited my dog to set one day, and I feel like that needs to be said as well.
that does need to be said.
Yeah.
Also, what kind of dog?
I have a toy Australian Shepherd. My house is very dirty, but she's sitting on the floor watching our
Hi.
interview.
Hi, puppy.
Her name's Aurora, after the Northern Lights. And then I call her Rory for short after Gilmore Girls because I grew
Of
up on Gilmore
course.
Girls.
I love that. Well, we'll be talking about what you're watching in just a sec. Before we do, I want to know a little bit more about Long Slow Exhale. Tell us about your character, Claire.
Yeah, so a little backstory, just in case some of these people don't know what Long Slow Exhale is about. It's a show on Spectrum, and it follows a women's basketball team and a sexual assault scandal that occurs. Um, and then all sorts of craziness ensues. There's a murder. So it's kind of like it's a crime drama mixed with shedding light on sexual assault in universities and in a lot of sports programs as well. My character Claire is one of the sexual assault victims that ends up coming forward later on in the series. There's kind of two different scandals, and one scandal uncovers another of basically this administration having been covering up scandals for decades. And so my character is not from the initial scandal of the show, but kind of the others that come up as the show continues on.
I see. And this is on Spectrum, which is very exciting because Spectrum has just recently been diving into their originals.
Yeah, they have because they have LA's Finest, and then they have another show. I think it's called Florence Black. But yeah, they're creating a lot of new content. And you can, if you don't have Spectrum, you can download the app on Roku and Apple TV, just like any of the other apps, Disney Plus, etc.
Yeah.
And you can sign up there.
Very cool. Awesome. And when and is it Spectrum a drop all at once or a week to week?
It dropped 3 episodes per week, but they're all out now. So you can go and binge the whole thing now if you want to. And then eventually and this is something I'm not sure when this is happening, but the show will move over to BET and will be aired on BET and be available on BET Plus. I'm just not sure exactly when it's supposed to go over to BET. It will still air on Spectrum, but It will just also have another platform on BET.
Very cool. Any other projects coming out that you can tell us about yet?
No, nothing right now. Nothing right now. I just worked on a movie with a really big director that I'm excited about, but I can't really talk about it. I just had an episode of FBI come out recently, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, which was really fun. It was my first time getting to shoot in New York City, which was like the craziest fever dream ever.
And next step, you're going to be on SVU.
By
Greatest
golly,
show
yes,
of all
it
time.
will happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, let's dive into what you are watching. What is the last thing that you watched?
The last thing that I watched is Grace and Frankie.
Oh, I'm such a big fan. I talk about the show all the time. So you finished the whole thing?
I haven't finished the whole thing. I have 4 episodes left. And I will be honest, I've been mildly procrastinating watching them because I don't want the show to end.
Yep, that happened to me too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be really, really sad. I love these characters. I saw an interview recently with June Diane Raphael, who plays, what's her character? Brianna? Is that her character?
Mm-hmm.
Who's like my favorite character on the show, how she talked about how she wrote her character a spinoff show. And I just really want the spinoff to happen because I don't want the Grace and Frankie era to end. I want it to continue.
Yeah, I agree. I love that show so much, and I was really disappointed to hear that it was going to end, and then definitely spent most of the last season crying. But also, I was very concerned about the show in that the top 4 build people are all very old, which is the premise of the show.
Yeah.
And so, like, literally them getting shut down by COVID got me very anxious that we would never see the end. So I'm really grateful that they all survived. What a awful thing to say, but I'm really grateful they all survived so that we could finish the
I
series.
know. Well, it's so funny because I was watching Grace and Frankie with like my boyfriend hadn't seen it and he was over and I was like very rudely, I was like, I don't care that you haven't seen the show. I want to watch it right now. And so he started watching it with me and he asked their ages. And I mean, yeah, it's incredible. Jane Fonda is like 84. Lily Tomlin is 82. I can't remember how old Martin Sheen is, but I just think how exciting as an act, like that they're still doing this at their ages and that they have a
Yeah.
show that's so successful. It's run 7 seasons. It's Netflix longest running show. I mean, it's really incredible. But it has been hard to watch this final season a little bit, like you said, because they are getting older and like the issues that they talk about in the show are probably issues that they are dealing with in real life, which makes me sad and is a little scary to think about in your own future. And that's one of the things that I think the show is really good at talking about is that it is kind of scary for them too, as they're getting older, not knowing what to expect. Um,
Yeah.
that's not really something that I had thought too much about ever before. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. I ended up watching the end of it while watching the end of This Is Us, which
oh no.
guys, there was a lot of crying, a lot of crying.
Why did you do that to yourself?
I don't know. I hate myself.
Did you like sleep for the next 3 days after just from sheer emotional?
No, but I called my parents a lot and told them that I love them. They were like, "What's wrong with you?" Well, the last thing that I watched actually was the first 2 seasons of Motherland Fort Salem. The final season, season 3, is premiering on June 21st. This is a show about what if at the Salem witch trials, instead of killing the witches became the US military. And now we're in the present. And I really sometimes I'm torn on this show because a lot of it, look, I love witches. Anything with
No,
witches, I'm
I
into
love
it.
witches too. I have like a big I really like the supernatural genre. It's a like yeah.
Yeah, the show, at least for the first season, was very much a military drama, which is not what I
Oh
wanted.
wow.
That said, I just spoke to the creator and EP, Elliot Lawrence, and I will link that interview later. But we talked about this third and final season and how they're going back to the history and the mythology and explaining the powers and the lineages of these witches. And that I'm like, why are we doing that in the third and final season?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, where was this 2 seasons ago? Um,
That probably would have been helpful.
Right. So Motherland Fort Salem is the last show that I watched.
Is it bad if now I want to only watch the last season, or is it bad if maybe I want to watch the last season first and then go back and watch the other 2 seasons?
So unfortunately, there's so much, like, because they know they're ending, they have to tie all these
All the
threads together.
storylines
So
together,
you're
right?
not gonna, yeah, you can't just jump in.
Right. I
So
would
you
have like
gotta,
major.
yep. So sit through season 1 and 2, and season 3 premieres June 21st on Freeform. All right, what is a show or movie that you just discovered?
I'm way behind the times. I think what was it? It was last summer when this show was popular. But I just got onto it. The White Lotus.
All right, tell us what this is about.
Okay, I'm only on episode 4, so it's hard for me to to really grasp yet because the show almost borders on absurdism at times.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like I'm not going to find out what the show is about until the final episode. But essentially, the premises of the show is that there's a hotel on an island, and all of these very wealthy people come to this island. Um, and chaos ensues. There's something like weird about the hotel. There's something weird about the guy who runs the hotel. What is his name? He's phenomenal. The the
The
what is
like
his
hotel manager guy.
yeah. It's
I
gonna
don't
drive
know
me.
his name.
You
I'm
don't know
sorry. No, because I gave this show 2 episodes and gave up.
Murray Bartlett, Murray Bartlett. I think it's
Sure.
Murray Bartlett. He's incredible. I could just watch I could watch nothing but him act for like an entire hour.
I have
He's
news
so
for
good.
you. When you're done with this show or with the season, you can check out season 2 of Physical on Apple TV Plus. He's in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. I appreciate that. But yeah, and obviously like Jennifer Coolidge. I mean, she was
Right.
the one who kind of I feel like everybody was talking about last year. I mean, her performance is absolutely the most phenomenal thing. And all like her character, she just feel I just want to give her a big hug. And she seems like I just want to give her a big hug.
Her character is always, whatever she's in, she stands out. She's a scene stealer.
Always.
She is phenomenal. She's incredible. And so every time people rediscover her, I want to smack them and be like, where have you been? Where have you been?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really like the standout. I really feel like I mainly know her from Legally Blonde, which I think is very much like an early, like a 90s kid thing. Because that just came out like at very like important years in my childhood that like that's what I always remember. And she was always my favorite character from that movie. So I've enjoyed and A Cinderella Story. Do you remember that movie with Hilary Duff and Chad Michael Murray?
Oh, I do. I do remember.
She was phenomenal in that as well.
That's what I'm saying.
So but I'm really glad that her career has like just continued to go up, and it seems like after White Lotus she's finally getting the critical recognition. Because I think she's had a big fan base for a really long time, but not necessarily as much critical reception, and I'm glad that this show really did that for her.
I think you're totally right on that. Absolutely. I mean, she became a household name with the Christopher Guest movies and with being Stifler's mom. And, she like did that. But now you're right. Like now critics and I guess studios and the people
network
that
executives
are paying attention. So the show I just discovered. Listen.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay, let's start with this. It's called Supernatural Academy. It is an animated show on Peacock.
Wait, this looks so cute.
Oh, it does look cute. It is not for children.
Oh.
I thought I was about to watch some like stupid children's animated show about a Hogwartsy place.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first episode, I heard the term kick my ass and asshole. And I went, I don't think this is for kids. Not that I care that kids say these words, but I'm pretty sure someone does.
Right.
It's an animated series for someone. It's not for adults because it's not like an adult, like a Archer is adult animated.
Yeah.
It's not that. I don't know who it's for. It's for me, obviously, but I don't know who it's for. So it is about two girls that are, turns out they're twins. They're werewolves. One lives in the human world and one lives in the magic world. And they're being hunted because they're special chosen ones. And so they end up reuniting and having to deal with that in this magic world. But it's, again, I don't know who it's for.
It's for all of the women who listen to paranormal sci-fi romance novels like my mother.
There's a very good chance that your mother has listened to this book series.
Probably. I'm
said,
telling you, she's obsessed. And she's getting me into them.
And you're going to write one soon.
I am. Thank you.
I'm so excited to read it. But Supernatural Academy very much should have been live action and on Sci-Fi Channel. That's if you literally took exactly everything about it, made it live action and put it on Sci-Fi Channel, it would be a huge success. But instead, it's like they buried it in an animated, not even like good animation. It's like that computer animation that was really popular in the early 2000s that was hard to watch because it hurt your eyes. So it's that, and it's on Peacock, which No one has. But I discovered it and I watched all 16 episodes, and I don't think it's going to get a second season, but I
Well,
watched it.
is it bad to say that there's a part of me that really wants to go watch it though?
Yeah, no, I get
Just
it.
based on the premise that like deep inside I am still like a 16-year-old girl who like who wants some like 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 I said, like Vampire Diaries or like Twilight or like I don't know, something or something early thousands back in my life.
I mean, that's how I ended up sitting down and spending an entire Saturday
Yeah.
watching this show.
As
Yeah.
I will probably do this coming Saturday.
It's called Supernatural Academy, and it's on Peacock. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. I think you and I have very similar tastes, which I'm loving right now. Let's talk about, I guess we're going to get a little serious here with a show or movie that everyone should watch at least once.
Yeah, this is a little serious. Although I was reading reviews for it recently, and at the time, it really wasn't taken. I'll get into this. So first, the movie is Life is Beautiful by Roberto Benigni, and it is about a family that gets, they're Jewish, and so the father and son get taken together to a concentration camp during World War II, and the film is really kind of about the dad trying to distract the kid from the fact that they're in this really horrific setting and kind of try to create like little games and like beautiful things for the kid. And so it's a really, really beautiful movie, kind of, about the resilience of human nature and all of that kind of stuff. It's also very sad because,
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking. It's one of those that like I can only watch if I'm in for a good cry. But I just think that I think the way that Roberto Benigni's character specifically in the film is able to find that joy almost defiantly, is a really incredible thing to watch. And I think it's a good reminder to all of us that you kind of, even under really awful circumstances, if you really are looking for it and trying for it, you can find joy in even the most awful of places. Now remind me of that, when I'm like depressed on my couch one day, but that's why I think we need movies like this is to remind us of those things every now and then. But interestingly, like I was reading an interview or an article about it recently where they were talking about how they felt like it was over comedic and it was like making fun. Some of the reviews were like that it was like making fun of it, and I was like, I didn't take that way at all. I mean, I really thought the whole thing was, to me, the message was really trying to, find light in really dark circumstances.
Yeah. I remember seeing this movie when it came out. I saw it after he won the Oscar. And what sold me on seeing it was him climbing over the chairs to get to the Oscar. It's like a very iconic Oscar moment. And I went, I don't know what the hell his movie is, but I guess I'll watch it. And so I did. And it's, I have seen many Holocaust movies. That is a thing we watch a lot in our family. And so to see this one, which was so different than the others,
very different, yeah,
and to have a different message than the others, I think was really, it's a beautiful movie. Yeah. I agree.
I hope I was like, yeah, sorry to darken the mood from sci-fi, but
no,
I do think it's a great one.
Yeah, I almost also put a Holocaust movie on this list, so I'm glad I didn't. I would have just depressed everybody for the next hour. But here's what I say: watch Grace and Frankie, watch This Is Us, and then watch Life is Beautiful. You're in for a whole bunch of tears.
Oh man, yeah, we really put together a playlist for someone who really is like in need of a good cry.
Yep, we got
Which
you.
we all need every now and then. Like you do, you feel good afterwards.
Absolutely. So a show or movie that I think everyone should watch at least once. I'm going to say season 1 of The Good Place.
Ooh, yes. Good one.
So the first viewing of the first season is so interesting and fun and entertaining. And without knowing where it goes, there's like no way to experience that again. So if you haven't seen it, sit down and watch just the first season. I'm not going to say you're going to love it and have to watch more. but just watch the first season and don't look into it and don't get spoiled. It's
yes,
just
don't look into the show before you watch it. I agree, because that totally ruins the entire premise of season 1.
yeah, and then if you decide to watch the whole series, then you get this really fascinating discussion about life and about death and about purpose, and I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
So another beautiful recommendation.
I know, and I just can never get enough Tahani.
Right. I mean, the cast is just so talented.
So good. So good.
Yeah. It's all of those people I think are underrated. Like, yes, they're all going on to do things. They're still underrated. They could be doing better and
Yeah.
more.
Except for maybe Kristen Bell. I don't know. She's a superstar, but I do agree everybody else could. Although I think I think a few of them have some stuff coming out.
They all have
But
stuff
you're right.
coming out.
It didn't have they didn't pick up. They didn't take off the way that I would have expected, right after the first season came out.
Yes. And the discovery of the show took a while as well. Like, some people were watching it as it aired, and then once the reveal happened, then people started to watch it. And I feel like it was one of those shows that ended up on a streamer, and that's how it got all the attention. And it's like Schitt's Creek, that it took people to discover it once it was already
time. Yeah.
All right. Our last question is, what is a show or movie that you are surprised you love? Do you want me to go first?
It's up to you.
All right. So anyone who's ever seen me on any of these knows that I hate Christmas. Hate it. So it is very surprising that my pick is Noelle.
Oh, wow.
On Disney Plus. Now, I hate Christmas. The war on Christmas, it's just me. I am the war on Christmas. But this is a beautiful movie about Santa's daughter, who is Santa's daughter, and she has a brother who is set to be the next Santa, and he kind of doesn't want it, and she really does. And that's the story, and we discover the true meaning of Santa. Now, I hate Christmas, and I hate Santa.
Do you?
But, yes, I just want it out there. But one of my biggest pet peeves is that almost every Christmas movie, the plot, the resolution that we need is Santa to get the gifts out to everybody. To save Christmas, Santa has to get gifts out. And this is the first time that a movie about Santa is about why Santa is special or magical or matters, aside from gifts. Like, putting gifts aside, what is it about Santa?
Right.
And that's wonderful. It talks about the meaning of the season and this loveliness of being good to each other. And so I was like, finally, a Christmas movie that doesn't make me angry. So
I'm weird. I love Christmas, but I have a weird thing that I hate Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it's just, it's like the same songs we've heard since we were 5 years old, playing in the mall and on the radio, and it drives me insane. I do have some Christmas music that I like, mainly just the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, because I don't know, you can just really headbang to that, you know what I mean? But otherwise, Christmas music is not my cup of tea. But I do like Christmas movies, but I've never noticed that you're right. It is always a bit more about presents than it is about the spirit of the season. So how refreshing. I feel like I've noticed a trend recently in TV, or films or whatever, where it feels like they're starting to put out good messages again on film and TV. For a while, it was really cool to be dark and the anti-hero and everything is dark. And we had talked earlier about me loving Ted Lasso as well. And that's one of the reasons I like Ted Lasso, is that I feel like it's a show with a message where it's almost reparenting adults.
Yes.
In a way of being hey, these are the values we teach children. We should remember them, and we should be retaught them. So it's kind of also refreshing to hear that it sounds a little bit like it's what that movie is doing as well, being presents are not the important part. of this. The
Yeah.
important part is like the spirit and the generosity and the idea of giving, even if it's not a gift. I mean, I haven't seen the film, so I'm just
No, but yeah, it's the solution at the end of Elf is we got to get these gifts out, right? Like we need Christmas
yeah.
spirit so that he can deliver gifts. All the Santa Claus movies are so that he can get the gifts out. Fred Claus, we got to get the gifts out. Like all of these movies, it's just to make sure that the gifts get out. And in Noelle, again, like I do love a female lead. It's about why she wants to be Santa. It has nothing to do with gifts.
And I mean, I love me Anna Kendrick too.
Right. Does not hurt that it's Anna Kendrick
No,
being adorable.
Not at all.
It was one of Disney Plus's, I think, first originals when they launched in however many years ago that was. Yeah. So it's on Disney Plus year round. I know some people like to start Christmas in July. So
I was interested that you hate Christmas and then you watched it in June.
Look, I like Anna Kendrick.
I do too.
Yeah. So what is a show or movie that you're surprised you like?
I have so much shame around this, but guys, I've just recently started watching the Kardashians on Hulu, and I didn't watch their show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I'd seen like a few episodes here or there, you know what I mean? I don't know really like what overcame me to decide to watch the show one night. It was really just me looking around and being like, oh, all of this looks like too serious for my mental state right now. I just need something that's like a little lighter because I'd had a hard day. And I just like clicked the Kardashians, and I really surprisingly like their show. There's just a lot about them that I didn't know. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of problematic stuff as well. But their lives are absolutely fascinating, and getting to see what it's like to have that many people know who you are and know, I mean, everything they say is a scandal. Like literally they could be like, oh, the sky is blue, and somebody would like write an article to be like, Kim Kardashian claims the sky is blue. It's actually and like say like a very specific color or something. It's insane. So I guess I've just enjoyed getting to see what it's like to run an empire.
Okay.
Which is what it feels like they are, whether that be for good or for bad. It's pretty fascinating.
Do you feel inspired?
Sometimes I do, because the criticisms that they face are so massive and so global, and their ability to either correct or overcome some of the criticism or some of the trauma that's happened to them actually does inspire me sometimes, to be like, wow, if they face that, then you can face this tiny little hurdle in your life that seems really huge to you, that is like very micro on a scale of like what just happened to Kim Kardashian. And if she can get over that, you can sure as hell get over this. So it actually weirdly does inspire me in a weird way. Of just making some of my problems maybe not seem quite as big.
Okay.
I know, you're like,
you didn't watch no, I was gonna ask how it's different than the other one, but you haven't seen the other one.
From what I've read, it's not that different.
Okay. That's what I thought.
But I didn't really watch the other one, so it's all new to me. You know what I mean? It's like like I feel like I've seen some of the very like dated episodes, like back in like the very, very earliest episodes, but I really have a vague memory of them from the episodes. Though I mean, it feels very different because they've just come a long way as a family. Like they're very different people from when it was like Courtney and Chloe in Miami or something like that. I don't know.
Right. I forgot they had like a whole in the off season. Different ones would have their own off season show.
Yeah. I think that was the episode that I'm referring to, because they got like stranded on the way to Miami.
All right.
That's all I really remember. That's like the main episode that I remember. And I know I've seen other snippets and like little clips, around the internet, but I never just sat down and actually watched the show or like, heard them speak for themselves about topics, or gotten their opinions on the topics.
How many episodes in are you?
Oh, I've watched every episode.
And how many are there?
I think maybe 6 or 7 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's 24. I watched it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's not crazy
No.
because they're
Okay.
they're airing the episode as they come out.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
yeah. Okay.
Why did I say if that makes sense? Of course
It
that
makes
makes
sense.
We live in a world of streaming now, and so for me, for a show to come out once a week, I'm like,
I don't know if you've heard of this, but sometimes shows come out every week. We live in a weird time. Thank you, Melissa, so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks for getting weird with me and sharing your innermost secrets and thoughts.
and some shames as well. Some of my innermost shame as well.
Look, if I sat down and watched a Christmas movie, there is no shame in you watching the Kardashians.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If people want to keep up with you on social media, where can they do that?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is M for Melissa, and then it's my last name, Saint-Amand with no dash, which I understand is actually like quite a lot to remember. But if you just Google Melissa Saint-Amand, I feel like my Instagram pops up. But yeah, that's the main thing I use. I have like a TikTok account that has like 2 videos from like 2 years ago. So there's not much going on the TikTok, but you can follow me on
Not
Instagram.
yet.
Not yet. Who knows? Maybe I'll turn things around and become a TikTok star one of these days.
So next up, you're going to be writing some sci-fi romance and TikTok.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you for helping me like figure out my side hustles.
Right. You can't already have a successful career and me be like, how about I throw more work on?
Because everybody's successful on TikTok.
That's how it works.
It's so easy to make a viral video.
Exactly. You get it. All right. Before we go, I want to remind everyone that the Hollywood Critics Association has a lot of amazing content coming out every week, including after shows, Pop Council, this show. We have a lot of stuff, so make sure you've subscribed. Until next time, I am Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere on the internet at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. And if you want to check out that interview with the EP of Motherland, Fort Salem, check that out on my Twitter, again, at Yael Tygiel. Thanks. We'll see you all next